gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of The Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, The Quinn. At least it's how I'm known here on the program, and at this point, after 12 years, really nowhere else. And I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. And you just heard Revel 9's All I've Become at the top of the show. That's been our opening theme song here at The Quinn Spinn since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days. And I am joined here by Miss Kelsey Muse, who is a performing artist, recording artist, underdog, and next to rise artist here at Underground Music Collective as well. And this has been a long time coming, Kelsey, so thanks for taking the time to join.
Thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Absolutely. And we've got a lot to cover, including new music coming soon. But first, I'm going to ask you the three standard questions I ask every guest of the show, new or returning. And those three questions are, who are you? What are your passions? And why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn?
I am Kelsey Muse. My passions are music, writing, and film. And I want to come here to share my music, get to know a little bit more about each other, get a little more about me, and promote some new music coming up.
Yeah, well, there's plenty to cover here and plenty of history with you and the entertainment industry.
Yes.
So you've been at this for a while. You know, you've gone through different eras and really coming into your own artistry here in this current era of Kelsey Muse. And we're going to cover all of that. But first, I want you to take us back as far back as you want to go, maybe all the way back to the beginning if you want. And what were some of the things that shaped you as far as events, as far as influences, as far as people along your creative journey? How did you get on this creative path that you're on?
Yeah, so I was born in Oklahoma and was surrounded by a musical family, both musical parents. And my dad pursued a career in music for a brief time as well. So he was very strong in songwriting. And from there, church was involved, singing in church, and was integrated and performed and traveled through those areas as well. And then I was homeschooled. So when I wanted to take it seriously, I was able to spend that spare time traveling, perfecting my craft, gigging, traveling around, and that's what helped build just the foundational blocks of my career. And so you've been pursuing this professionally for quite a while as well. Yes, I started professionally at 14. 14. So getting paid. Getting paid is 14. So that's when all the job industry starts coming in, right? And you know, when you're a rookie, you got to pay your dues. So I was trying any type of opportunity I could get to sing, to play, do both, and work on being more versatile from there too. And 14, that's a young age to come into all of this too. And to take that bull by the horns and decide I'm pursuing this professionally. And certainly at that age, there's still a lot to learn about the industry, about the people around you, how it all works, right? So what were some of the most important lessons that you learned early in your journey that have helped you here today? Work ethic and not letting obstacles get in your way. Always finding a way. For me, an example is when I started playing guitar, a teacher wasn't involved, so I had to teach myself guitar. So I had to think outside the box and a little bit differently on how I was going to go about teaching myself. So I had a little bit of familiarity with that by being homeschooled. Also, the internet was coming about. YouTube was just coming out into the world. So I started using the internet and typing in words and chords and progressions, and I was listening by ear and just trying to match that together. My first instrument was playing piano, so I'm glad I learned music theory and could read music So in a analytical way, it started to cross over as I began to practice and do research on my own. So just started teaching myself. So that was one way where it was like work ethic, discipline, and stay open-minded.
And on the business end, too, of course, you learn a lot as you start navigating this journey. And I think when we all start out, no matter when we do, whether it's 14, whether it's 26 like me, like there's just so much that you don't yet know about the business, right?
The same formula applies to any age.
And so what were some of your early experiences navigating the industry side of things?
Very much knowing, well, at the time, my dad was my manager. So on a business perspective as a young kid, you know, it's like when you have a team, make sure there's somebody there you can trust and rely on to help make proper calls. So my dad was a huge buffer in that in several different positions, you know, not only as a father, but then also as a business manager. So we're learning together all those ups and downs and obstacles. So from there, it was just like, it was really important as you're young to be surrounded by good people and good people that are on your side and genuine and that have strong integrity, because especially around even my age and still very much now, like the kid or child music industry, it's huge. It's huge, and it was thriving then and it's thriving now.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of scouts and people looking for that type of image, you know, so just make sure you're perfecting that and trusting your team and knowing who's around you.
Yeah, I think that's super important because, I mean, we've all heard stories to the contrary, right? Or maybe even experienced things where, you know, we couldn't necessarily help what we didn't know. And maybe there weren't any people who knew better around us. And we hear that happen all the time, like even outside of music. Like because we're in Nashville, I use this example of the Hawk Tuah girl all the time, right? Where like just some girl out drinking with her friends on Broadway says the Hawk Tuah thing, goes viral, and then a few months later gets embroiled in this whole crypto scandal, right? Because people saw somebody that didn't really know the business of what happens after you go viral and what happens after you have that moment. And, you know, her name's on the thing. And so when the bottom dropped out, who got blamed for it, right? And I think that's a cautionary tale, I think, in any industry, in any part of the entertainment industry, especially, where if you have that moment, right, and you don't quite have the foundation or the support system underneath you to support it and to help you identify what's the next thing I should do, that's where a lot of people tend to stumble, you know? And that's where I think, you know, we have to, as people who have now been at this for a while, like, it's our responsibility to communicate those lessons and communicate those things that we've observed or maybe even experienced to help the next generation come to this from a more informed perspective, because there are always going to be people out there, right, who don't have the best intentions, you know, who see somebody that they can latch onto and just milk a situation dry.
Absolutely.
Right. And so it takes that sense of understanding where you are, understanding who's around you, what they know and don't know. But when you're 14, 15, 16 years old, often where are you going to get that lesson from if it's not from the people who are older than you?
Yeah, and you still got the whole child part life about it too. So you're still learning. Yeah, and there's things you're going to have interest in, but in a few years that may change. So it's having to think in advance, especially as a 14-year-old, and be like, is there something I can stick to that I'm comfortable with on the long term of things, because my mind could change in a couple of years, you know, going from middle school to high school, that's a big change too.
And then high school to college age as you work into adulthood.
Absolutely. So there were just being homeschooled and then traveling and doing music, I'm having to have a different mindset. And then at some point, go back to education or go back to, you know, regular peer social type events and communities, and then you go and put the other hat on, so.
Right. That could be difficult to keep in balance too, I feel, because like on one hand, you want to remain so focused on what you're doing and what you're here to build, right? In the industry sense. And I know speaking for myself, sometimes it's tough to shut that off and like just go touch some grass or go like, take a few days and visit with people, like go be a normal person for a bit. And it's that balance. And especially when you've been at it for a long time or you start young, like it can be tough to really keep those things in balance because it almost feels like you're taking away from one to give to the other. How do you keep balance in your life?
That is sometimes easier and sometimes just more difficult depending on what's going on. But starting early and going through those things early on kind of helped give me a little head start, I guess, on now going into the more adult things. And learning to hold your own in that way. So for me, it was a big deal that, I like being out in nature as well. I like being outdoors. So taking time to have other activities, other than music, helped with that. Also going out and trying, being social, trying to make friends, and just understanding, like, especially then, it was really a lot of friends that I made or connected with were usually older than me. So I was just more of like an older soul in that way. So when I'm socializing and it came to kids that were exactly my age, it was just harder to connect, just completely different interests. So I was connecting more and hanging around more of the older kids and younger adults. So.
Yeah. Would you say that it's because those folks seem to have a better idea of what they wanted and you knew what you wanted? Or
that was definitely a connection, just more intent about things. But also I really enjoyed learning just in general. And my learning capacity was just, I was hungrier to just learn and to practice at things, especially around that time. So if I could learn from the elders, I was learning from that. Something that I used to do when I was really young was I was more into watching the old movies back in the 40s and 50s and black and white TV shows and movies. I was more interested in those things, and I was learning inspired by those than just the shows that were meant for my age bracket, So I was always connecting just with more older souls or just the people a little bit older than me.
Yeah.
So that's how I had more common interests, but also was learning too. I don't know. It just kept, I'm trying to think of that word.
Yeah.
I can't think of the word.
There was more kinship there.
Yeah. I found just more kinship. Like when you grow up in a big family, there's already nitpicking and there can be conflict at times other than having fun and being together as a family. But when you go and hang out with your friends, like you don't want to deal with the same thing, basically.
Right,
so
exactly. Yeah.
I was more stimulated by just building more unique connections. And a lot of those times it was listening to the elders.
Yeah.
Or just having older friends.
Right on. Yeah.
I
want to revisit something you said a few minutes ago too, about how as you grow and as you age, like the things that you want change, And I want to know what's changed for you as far as what you wanted when you started out versus what your goals are now. And also, what has remained the same, if anything?
Something that remained the same, I think, was like the writing style. My writing style, because in the beginning it started out as more Christian music or inspirational music. And my writing style was more versatile to where some of those songs, this could be a mainstream song, or this could be Christian. It just, how do we want to place it? How do we want to pitch it? So the writing style evolved and grew and stayed the same in those areas, and just staying relatable when it came to constructing ideas. In terms of the other element of like the image or the look, like it was pushing Christian music real heavy. And a lot of that had to do with, you know, more of a structured system locally, kind of where the area I was around, but also part of just the family background. And eventually, as I go into my career, like, what will it ultimately shape in? So there came a point where it was like, we're deciding, like, should we continue to pitch this way or try a different way? Because every now and then you'll see an artist that may have started out Christian but then broke out into mainstream.
Katy Perry being one of those.
Right.
Yeah.
Katy Perry, Amy Grant. There's a couple of others, even from American Idol, that were more Christian based, but they came mainstream.
Yeah. Or even like a Switchfoot, who like they are Christians themselves, but they don't identify with like the CCM world, right?
Right.
And I know John Foreman's gone on record to say, like, you know, it helps them reach more people to not necessarily associate, you know, with that bucket of artists, right? It makes it more accessible to everybody, you know.
And I was cool with, especially in the beginning, with either or, as long as it was authentic. It's just when it came down to the discussion of it, it was like, well, the way I'm writing is more mainstream. I feel like I connect better to my audience and the message that I have that way by going this way. And that's when a lot of the disagreements and, oh, this is not a good fit, you know, all started. But I was just, again, keeping an open mind and trying to look towards the future. And the way technology was developing at that time, it was very fast. So I made a point to already start YouTube videos or start establishing, putting the music on YouTube.
Yeah.
So I was trying to surround myself with people who were like-minded.
Right.
And at that time, this would have been 2006 or 2007, 2005-ish. Like, it was hard to get people on board.
Yeah.
Around that time.
Yeah. You've always mentioned to me in our conversations about, you know, making sure that you're moving in a certain way, you know, moving different, you know, from, you know, what a lot of folks are doing. You know, I think like it's so easy to get caught up in the trends and get caught up in like the copycat aspects of the industry, right? The things that everybody's doing to try to go viral, to try to, you know, garner some attention, following the, you know, the TikTok trends and all that. Like my take on that has always been, if everybody's doing it, nobody's standing out.
Right.
Right. So how do you make yourself stand out among what's certainly the most saturated music market we've ever experienced? Everybody has access to the tools now. Everybody has the power. What sets Kelsey Muse apart from the pack? Why should people tune in to you specifically?
They should tune in to me because when I do music, it's my purpose. But when I do music, I'm putting myself in other people's shoes. So the music, like my attention span, you know, is challenging too. Like I want something to catch my attention, or I want to groove, or I want to dance, or I want to vibe in the background if I'm in the coffee shop. So it's like keeping the music interesting and fresh. Because that's the essence of music, is making you feel or making you move. But I can still hold substance or create an idea in the lyrics, in the words.
Right.
Along with that, I'm a vibrant person, and I'm into fashion, and I'm into unique personalities. So like my mission statement is a message of motivation and hope to the misfit and muses of the world. So the outcasts, the underdogs, the black sheeps who had a little trouble fitting in, but they were literally set with their purpose in this unique path.
Mm-hmm.
So learning to embrace that, and that's what sets me apart, is having that consistency of embracing the different things about myself, but the different things I still try to put through music to connect with a whole nother human.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, and still keeping the beat up and fresh and keep you on moving through the years and keep you inspired and help you get inspired and create new ideas.
Yeah.
By just the aesthetic, help creating and contributing to the aesthetic around the listener. So.
And celebrating what makes you unique. And I think too, like in school, and see, I went to public school, and unique anything was very much discouraged. you know? And in
it
case
wasn't cool.
yeah, and I certainly wasn't in school. I was the weird kid, you know. And I realize now, being in my late 30s, like how much of an advantage that actually is in life, to have not necessarily fit in, because you see things a little different way. You see alternatives where a lot of people don't, right? And it helps you get comfortable with what's weird or different about you because you've had to deal with it your entire life, right? And it's a powerful realization to come to. And I mean, I think we all wish we would come to it sooner in life, right? And just be more comfortable in our own skin as it's happening. Some people just have that gift, right? Like where they're in high school and they just don't care. They're just who they are. What would you say to a younger Kelsey about that idea of trying to embrace what makes you different, what makes you unique? Anything that you might have struggled with that now you're like, you know what, that's awesome. I really like that about myself.
Yeah, I wasn't afraid to be a different type of singer, or I may be managing or leading bands in the church, but my music that I write outside of that is mainstream. You know, things like that, or setting certain beauty or fashion trends. Like I was very just fearless when it came to trying something different. The backside of that is people can say negative things. And in some of my situations, it was grown adults saying negative things. So telling my younger self would be just understand that sometimes when we put our authenticity out there and we're putting that in action form, you know, you may not realize the impact on the outside, like other people are receiving it. So keep loving on yourself, keep taking care of yourself, and understand like the things that you do have power in them. So as you're navigating this certain job or business or career path that you're doing, understand that it's not the normal job or career,
Certainly.
you know.
Nothing normal about this.
That they're being. So it's like a lot of my peers were going to public school. I'm homeschooled. So that's already setting me apart in 70% of what's going on for a 15-year-old or 16 or 14-year-old. So that's what it's like. Don't worry about, just understand that the negativity is because you're doing something right, or you're doing something that not everybody else is doing. There's pushback, and that's supposed to be received as a compliment.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think the more you lean into it too, the more you find people who do appreciate it and who are a part of your audience, who are a part of your community, because maybe those people have struggled with something in their own way, right? And you're giving power by leaning into who you are to those people who maybe are struggling to, you know, embrace something about themselves, right? So there's great power in just being a weirdo, you know?
I loved it.
Yeah. I didn't
I
love
do
it.
love it.
Yeah. I didn't used to love it, but I love it now. Like I wouldn't have it any other way, because you realize what that can do, you know, the impact that can have. Like it's the people who go against the grain who are the ones that change worlds, who change industries, who push us forward, right? And through music, through everything that we do, we have the power to do that and to like communicate that through a vessel, right? That reaches somebody else at the ready. And so you've had a chance to put out some music here recently.
Yes.
Sunglasses, of course, being released earlier this year, and then there's even more coming. But first, tell us about Sunglasses.
Sunglasses is a special song to me. It's about holding your value or understanding your value, and the sunglasses is metaphor, but also, hey, put your swag on, like enjoy being who you are, but also metaphorically pay attention to your surroundings and what's going on, because you got something special that not everybody else has. So sunglasses, I hang them low. Can't trust nobody. No. And then it's just describing the world that's around me in a circus and, you know, things going on and don't know what to expect and uncertainty, but understanding my value, and I'm going to pull my own weight. I'm going to hold it down as I navigate through life.
Yeah. And I think especially on the creative journey, it's such an important thing to keep in mind too. Like there's going to be so much going on around you. Industry-wise, in the world, in your own personal life, like it can all feel like a circus,
Yeah.
like you said, right? And I mean, I think we've all, you know, experienced that just in our daily lives, let alone, you know, when you go and pursue something and build that from the ground up. And the best thing you can do is just stay focused on what you're here for. You know, stay focused on what your mission is, because there's going to be so much in life that could or perhaps will even try to distract you and pull you off of that path. Right. And I think as creatives, like it's our job to just hone in on keeping our eyes on the road as opposed to looking around at what's going on, what we're missing out on, what this person has to say, this thing's going on in the world, that thing's going on in the world. Good to have an awareness of those things, right? And affect change where we can. But ultimately, our best impact is going to start from within.
Right.
Right. And our best impact is going to be on focusing what we can bring to the table right now and how we can grow that impact in our communities, in our industries, throughout the entire ecosystem.
Yeah, it's not always, you can absorb everything, but it's not good to absorb everything.
Right. Especially in 2025.
Yeah, you got to pay attention and understand what's going on because you are valuable.
Yeah. Have a healthy awareness of it and then try to focus on being some kind of solution in some way,
right.
You know, as opposed to contributing to the problem. And there's a lot of contributing to a lot of problems right now, but we as creatives can lead the charge toward a better day. And speaking of better days, there are even better days coming with Whispers coming out.
Yes, there is.
So let's talk about Whispers.
Yes, I'm excited about Whispers. This is a really cool next chapter after Sunglasses. Whispers is talking about you are dealing with the challenges of having trouble fitting in, and people will be talking about this and that. So you understand, look, because of who I am, I'm able to get certain opportunities, or I know I'm going to win. I know I'm not going to lose. So I look pretty good when I don't fit in. So everybody might be talking about me, but hey, don't I look good sitting here on this stage?
Yeah. Certainly you get them talking more than just trying to be someone else, you know?
You do not got to be someone else. You look good doing you just like that, you know? And don't worry about the whispers going on around here.
Yeah.
So that's what makes it exciting, but I enjoy the music of the song. I enjoyed recording the song, and I think it's very relatable. So I hope a lot of people out there that hear it feel the same way.
Yeah. Something to be said for feeling comfortable in your own skin.
Yes.
And so Whispers coming very soon. If it's not out already, I know this episode comes out on October the 20th, so it might be out. But either way,
I'm trying to slide it in there.
Make sure you check it out. Make sure you check out everything Kelsey's doing. And speaking of everything you're doing, let's take a look into the crystal ball here as we head to 2026. What do you have in store for us as we turn toward the new year?
I want an EP. So that would be that's one of my goals.
We're going to manifest that right now.
We are going to definitely manifest that.
I'm going to send you this clip and remind you periodically.
I know.
and
So
say,
see
"How's
what
the
you
EP
did?
going?"
You put me there.
Put you on the spot.
So yeah, I would love an EP, but a series of singles for sure leading up to that EP. Also, more visuals. I've really enjoyed the uptick of performing in more shows and getting booked. So I'm enjoying more curated performances and curated shows for next year. It'll be exciting.
Yeah, big year coming in 2026 for all of us here at Underground Music Collective. So one question I like to ask everybody toward the end of the episode, and first of all, this has been wonderful. Thank you for coming on.
No problem.
And we'll definitely have to do this many more times. If there's one lesson that Kelsey Muse right now could go back and teach Kelsey Muse when she was 14, that would have been completely invaluable to your journey, like the most important lesson. Speaking of putting you on the spot, what would that be?
Don't worry about them little friends. Don't worry about them haters. Don't worry about them little friends. Keep on staying focused because it gets better. So yeah.
Yeah. Where can we learn more about you online?
You can find me on Instagram, Kelsey Muse Music. Follow me on Instagram. And TikTok is Kelsey Muse Music. And then YouTube, Kelsey Muse.
All right. Make sure you follow Kelsey Muse and make sure you follow the Quinn Spinn. 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, and more. I almost said Apple Music again, like I did in the intro of the outtake that we posted when we posted it. So here I am putting myself on the spot as well. Anyway, you can find us on the socials. Instagram is our primary, Quinn Spinn, official 2 N's and Quinn and Spin. Also on Facebook. That Facebook page has been active since the great year of 2013. That was the first social handle we ever launched in this entire Underground Music Collective universe. So make sure you go give that a follow if you're on Facebook, which if you're not, that's cool too. Just follow us in some other places like at umcworldwide.com. Our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, community, and more at UMC Worldwide on at least most of the socials by now. And make sure that you join the Underdogs community, of which Kelsey and I are both a part. We have plenty of amazing things coming up. Next week, as of release, the Underdogs are going to New Orleans for Normal Music Con. Very excited. Details about that at umcworldwide.com and on all of the socials. And make sure as well that you enroll in our UMC Academy programs as well. We're going to be starting up Brand Camp again soon, so keep an eye on that. umcworldwide.com/academy. And if you want to follow me for updates on all those things and the occasional fitness thirst trap at Gerard Longo 12. Rebel 9's All I Become gonna take us out like it brought us in. Grab some muffins on the way out.